Hi, I'm Aaron Ellis, and these are my top 10 movies of 2015. Starting off at number 10 is Mission Impossible 5 Rogue Nation. My expectations were not high at all going into this movie, because I loved Mission Impossible 4 Ghost Protocol so much. I didn't think it was at all possible to top the last one. Well, if one thing's true about these movies, it's that they're very good at achieving the impossible. The action sequences shot in this movie are some of the best action sequences I've ever seen in a movie, and I love Simon Pegg as Benji in this movie. At number 9, I have Avengers Age of Ultron. Now this is a case of going into a movie with way too high expectations. This movie was not at all as good as the first one, but I still really had a lot of fun with this one. There's really something about seeing all of these characters on the screen at once. I thought it was a very good villain performance by James Spader as Ultron, but I was just expecting way too much from it. And that's why it's at number 9. At number 8, I have Kingsman: The Secret Service, which is the only movie on this list that I actually own already. This movie was such a great surprise. Who would have thought that in the middle of February we would have gotten like the new big spy franchise? I was so happy when I saw this movie. Everything I wanted out of it I got. It had great action, great humor, great everything, okay? At number 7, I have AntMan. Another great surprise. This movie went through so much trouble during production, and having Paul Rudd as the main hero, this was my favorite superhero movie of the year. It perfectly combined superhero movie and heist movie. It was like Iron Man meets Mission Impossible meets Paul Rudd. At number 6, I have Ridley Scott's The Martian. I was very happy with this movie. It is quite possibly the best performance I've ever seen from Matt Damon, and I feel honored that I get to say I saw a Ridley Scott classic for the first time in theaters. I think this is up there with Alien and Blade Runner. The reason it's so low on my list is because I kind of wish I got to see more of Matt Damon. They kind of switch back and forth between Mars and Earth a bit too much, but that doesn't take away the fact that this movie is incredible. At number 5, I have Trumbo. I was very pleased with this movie. Bryan Cranston's performance in this film is probably my favorite performance of the year. Good job, Bryan. He made this film so captivating, and the story was also very well written. Everything they say is so interesting to listen to. Yes, I was very happy with this film. I recently watched a video on YouTube. It was a collaboration with Chris Stuckman and The Flick Pick. It was about fanboying, and they talked about what it is and stuff. I realized that I was fanboying over my number 4 movie, The Walk. It was directed by my favorite director, Robert Zemeckis. But it was a really good movie in my opinion. I think it was the most beautiful looking movie of this year. The CGI animation in it was perfect. Everything looked so good. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the lead role was incredible. And I usually don't like this, but the 3D was incredible. Overall, to me, just an incredible movie. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
These last 3 movies, deciding on where to place them, was probably the hardest decision I've ever made in my life. It's probably not a good thing, if that's the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my life. I've made some poor decisions. My number 3 pick was Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Never have I ever seen so much hype for one movie. And boy, was it worth it. The music, the special effects, the directing, I met him by the way, the actors, the writing, the cinematography. Everything in this movie was perfect, except it didn't really meet my expectations, sorry. I'm sorry to say, but I feel like this movie just had just a bit too much hype. Oh my god, Star Wars! At number 2, we have Pixar's Inside Out. Out of any movie this year, this was the most genius, brilliant, well-written thing I've ever seen. This film had me laughing, it had me crying, and crying. And the animation was so beautiful. This is the only movie this year that I had to see more than once. I am so sorry, Star Wars. I can explain. And now, Aaron's number 1 movie of 2015 is It's not Rocky. It's Creed, though. Out of all the movies this year, Creed was the one movie that met my expectations and kept on going. So much in this movie was great. You had Michael B. Jordan, Michael B. Quick, Michael jumped over a candlestick. It was so good as Adonis Creed. You got Sylvester Stallone back as Rocky. I don't care what you say about Rambo, Sylvester Stallone will always be Rocky. The direction was incredible. There was a fight scene in one take. That's all I need to say about this movie. This movie made me cry. And the music was amazing. I love movie soundtracks, and I have to say that this is my favorite movie music of this year. Again, I am so sorry, Star Wars. I apologize. I'm so sorry. Creed, you did good. Well, that was my top 10 movies of 2015. I'm Aaron Ellis. Have fun.